The map is not the territory. Alfred Zornitsky. We all create internal maps to make sense of the world and predict what will happen in our lives. In 2016, many people in the US were shocked when Donald Trump got elected because their maps didn't accurately reflect what was happening in America. That same year, many people around the world were stunned when the UK broke from the EU because their internal maps were outdated. Just as cities continuously change and Google Maps must be constantly updated, our internal maps are constantly out of date and need updating. But unfortunately, we update our maps far less frequently than we should. Why? Well, first, having certainty feels good and leads us to believe that updating our maps is a complete waste of time. It's like a general who's certain he has a superior army and that victory is inevitable, so he doesn't scout the enemy. History shows us that this type of overconfidence leads to costly surprises in life and on the battlefield. And second, we hate to admit that we're wrong and would rather defend and fortify our positions than revise them. In the book The Scout Mindset, author Julia Galef calls this the soldier mindset. With the soldier mindset, we, quote, naturally see arguments as forms of attack and fear our positions might get destroyed. So we become entrenched in our beliefs, like soldiers holed up in a trench, safe from the enemy's volleys. And if we do change our minds, that's surrender. If we zoom out, it's easy to predict the long-term costs of upholding a soldier mindset. We stick with failing endeavors too long and needlessly waste time and money. We ignore critical feedback and fail to significantly improve at anything. And we grow increasingly threatened by other people's opinions, making life stressful and lonely. That's why we must work to shift away from a soldier mindset and toward a scout mindset. Someone with a scout mindset doesn't wait to be proven wrong. They actively seek out ways in which they might be wrong. For being wrong is an opportunity to update their map and see the world clearly. When we see the world clearly, we're more compassionate, less anxious, and more likely to make decisions that will benefit our lives and the lives of people we care about. The first step a scout mindset takes is challenging the status quo, and that involves 2 thought experiments conducted at least once a month. Thought experiment number 1. Picture yourself suddenly transported into the life of someone who happens to share your name and circumstance. You have no connection to their prior decisions and no need to look consistent or justify their previous actions. Your only goal is to make the most of the situation you now find yourself in. It's as if you're the same person, but under new management. Do you keep doing what the previous person was doing, or pivot to something else? If you identify one thing that you might consider quitting so you can do something else instead, run this second thought experiment. Imagine that the change you're considering is complete. You've snapped your fingers and it just happened. Some time passes, and the change now becomes your new status quo, and it would take work to go back to what you had. Now ask yourself, do you have any desire to go back to what you had? This thought experiment temporarily eliminates the status quo bias and loss aversion, allowing you to see your true preferences. To help illustrate these 2 thought experiments, here's a concrete way you can run both of them today. Imagine you've just been transported into your life and are meeting your friends for the first time. You've inherited these friends from the previous inhabitant, and you don't feel obligated to stay friends with any of them. You simply need to evaluate if these friends positively influence your life. With this fresh perspective, you realize you should distance yourself from one friend in particular. So you imagine snapping your fingers and fast forwarding 6 months into the future, when you've stopped hanging out with them, and not having them in your life has become the status quo. Now, do you have any desire to reach out to them and bring them back into your life? You can run these 2 thought experiments to rethink where you live, what you do for a living, and what you do in your free time. Each time you execute them, you brush off the dust on your map, which is built up as you were maintaining the status quo. When you and I lose our affinity for the status quo, we open ourselves up to new ideas and new ways of doing things, which is a hallmark of the scout mindset. But to fully embrace the scout mindset, we must seek out and learn from opposing viewpoints. We all have groups we're proud of being a part of, and labels we use to explain our choices, such as Democrat or Python programmer. However, being a part of these groups and adopting these labels makes us more likely to be hostile towards people and ignore people with opposing viewpoints. And the fact is, the number of people who don't share our views is vast. By shutting them out of our lives, we miss out on valuable ideas and information that could improve our maps and lead to a better life. Therefore, we must remain open-minded when interacting with people we disagree with. And here are 3 ways to do that. First, lighten your identity. Prove to people that you're not stuck on a team that you feel obligated to defend by adding a contingency to your identity. For instance, I'm a vegan as long as I continue to feel great on the diet. Or I'm a Democrat as long as the party doesn't go too far left. Adding a contingency to your identity makes you appear open to new ideas and information. Now, the second way to remain open-minded when interacting with people you disagree with is to perform the Influencer 180 thought experiment. Imagine the person who helped shape your beliefs on a given topic suddenly changes their mind and declares they no longer believe what you do. Does this make you less certain about that particular belief? Suppose you identify as a vegan, and a YouTuber who helped get you into veganism releases a post on social media explaining they were wrong and they are now open to new diets. Now that someone you trust and respect has changed their mind, has your belief wavered a little? Do you feel slightly less sure in your position and more open to a new way of doing things? Having a small seed of doubt about the way you do things is healthy and necessary to come across as an open-minded person during any conversation. And finally, method number 3 for remaining open-minded when interacting with people you disagree with. Seek out the right people on the other side. The advice to just listen to the other side is really bad advice. Because if we listen to the wrong people on the other side, we become increasingly close-minded. In 2017, a Michigan magazine tried to get people to escape their political echo chambers by listening to the other side for a week. Liberals read the Drudge Report online, a very conservative media outlet, and conservatives read the New York Times. At the end of the week, both groups reported that the other side was far more biased and inaccurate than they initially believed. In a 2018 study, participants received 24 tweets a day from people on the other side of the political spectrum. And Twitter being Twitter, these opinions were often extreme. After a month, the conservatives who read liberal tweets became dramatically more conservative, and liberals became slightly more liberal. This is all to say that extreme viewpoints tend to polarize rather than enlighten. Therefore, don't waste your time listening to popular personalities on the other side. You'll just find them insulting and extremely biased. Instead, search for an author, podcaster, YouTuber, or coworker who holds a different view than you, but with whom you share common ground. Maybe you share a core value like health and fitness, or a fundamental belief like a religion, or a life experience like you both worked on Wall Street. This person will have a better than average shot at changing your mind and helping you update your map. In the end, our internal maps help us navigate the world, but they are often outdated and inaccurate. If we embrace a scout mindset and actively look for ways our maps are inaccurate, we can better make sense of the world and make better choices. Embrace a scout mindset by challenging the status quo and learning from opposing viewpoints. Now, it won't be easy, but over time, you'll be rewarded for seeing things as they are, not as you wish they were. That was the core message that I gathered from The Scout Mindset by Julia Galef. I absolutely love this book and love Julia's fresh perspective on cognitive biases. I highly recommend it. If you would like a one-page PDF summary of insights that I gathered from this book, just click the link below and I'd be happy to email it to you. If you already subscribe to the free Productivity Game email newsletter, this PDF is sitting in your inbox. If you like this video, please share it. And as always, thanks for watching and have yourself a productive week.